welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is episode 156. We have quite a few new viewers this week, so thank you so much if you are a new viewer. Thanks for checking out the channel and joining our crafty bunch. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button down below, and if you click the bell icon next to it, it will let you know anytime I post a video, which is always on Saturday and Wednesday, but sometimes I throw other stuff in there if there's something going on that's exciting. So, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back each week and for being a part of this group that we're just having a lot of fun. This week we've had an amazing amount of fun, which I will go into in detail later, but there's been a lot of laughing going on this week over on the Facebook channel and over in the comments section, and I'll explain why. First, let's get to my finished objects. I only have one picture. Total fail as a podcaster. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I was spinning up some fiber for a lady at my church. She had given me some wool. She had had it for about 15 years, hadn't done anything with it, and she just had a drop spindle. She's like, I'm never going to do this, and would you like it? And I said, well, I'll take it, but I'll spin it up for you and give it back to you, and that way you can use it. So that's what I did, and it was the nicest yarn or fiber to spin into a yarn that I've ever dealt with before. A lot of times, even when you have cleaned fibers and processed fibers, you still find straw and stuff in it, or you get like little like bunches where the fibers haven't been combed out completely. So you get like little, not burrs, but just like little balls of fiber where like I said, the fibers haven't just lined up. There was only one of those in this entire bundle, which is about a 4-ounce bundle of fiber. So it was also very easy to spin and very smooth, which means that all of the fibers, which would be the fleece, were completely lined up straight. If they're lined up straight like this, it spins smoothly. If it isn't, and the fibers are kind of up in the air or kind of, not straight, anything but straight, that's what causes some of your yarn to look fuzzy. That's what causes some of your yarn to feel scratchy, because wool has microscopic barbs in it. That's why it's able to felt. So anyway, this was extremely nice yarn. It was definitely some kind of a merino, but she didn't know what it was. There was no labels on it or anything. And so I spun it all up as a double ply, or it was a 2-ply, which would make it about a sock weight yarn is what it came out to. And there was about 200 yards by the time I finished. It was in really pretty shades of purple. And then I completely forgot to film it and show a picture to you all. I had it hanging, drying in my laundry room, and total fail as a podcaster. Shame, shame, shame. Yeah. Anyway, but the other thing I did have as a finished object, I did remember to take a picture of. I'm a knitwear designer for a penguin. Yeah, at work. We have the department that I work in puts on puppet shows for all of the schools to promote library cards and using the library. So they do like 2 puppet shows per year, and I mean, it's 2 different programs. Like last year they did Peter Rabbit, but they might go to like 30 different places. So they have 2 different actual stories per year that they do. And like I said, they go to quite a few schools and different centers and things. And the library mascot is a penguin. I have no idea why. We do not live in a really cold region. I have no idea why a penguin is our mascot, but it is, and his name is Corky. And so everybody, when they do their story times at different centers, always has a Corky puppet with them. And Corky comes out and says hi and introduces the story. Well, it's getting to be winter, and Corky needed some additions to his wardrobe, and they're going to be doing something different with the penguin. They're working on some digital programming, so there might actually be a little YouTube show involving Corky the penguin. So there's a lot of things in the works right now, but Corky needed a hat and scarf for his film debut. So my coworker said, since you know how to knit and crochet and stuff, could you make Corky a scarf? I said, would Corky like a hat too? And he was like, yes, please. So Corky the penguin now has a hat and scarf. And I asked the guy, I said, how long do I need to make the scarf? He goes, well, I don't know. The penguin's 20 inches tall. I was like, that's not what I need to know. I need to know how big around the neck, and with your hand up inside the puppet, how much bigger around the neck does it need to be? So I brought my tape measure in, and we got a hat and a scarf finished for Corky the penguin. So I'm going to insert Corky's new knitwear attire here. Yeah, so now we'll move on to my works in progress. First, I will talk about my knitting. Now, if you remember last week, I just dropped something. Last week, I've got fur on me. Oh well, just fluffies all over the place. Last week I showed you this cowl that I had finished and how the rib stitch was not done in a smaller size needle. This was based on the pattern, and you can see it's rolling. That I hope this all blocks out when it's washed. Anyway, I had a second one. Actually, I have two more of these to make. The one I'm working on and one after that. So here's what the finished one looked like from last week. This is the same yarn. It is by Plymouth Yarns, I think. It's by Plymouth Yarns. And it's called Poems. Here's the one that I'm working on this week. And you can see it is still curling a little bit, but I think a lot of that's just because it's on the needles right now. So you can see it is curled, but I don't know that it's going to stay curled once it comes off of the needles. We will see. Someone asked if I would do a comparison. So once they're finished, before I block them, I will do a comparison of before and after blocking them. But you can see a difference if you look at my ribbing here. This I did with a smaller needle than what I did the body with. I did this with a size smaller because when you do rib stitches, which is a combination of knit and purl, it spreads out more than stitches up here do in the stockinette. So when you do this, you usually go down a size. The pattern didn't call for you to go down a size. So if you look at here on this one, see if I can hold this up so you can see it. So when you look here, you can see that this looks slightly bigger. I'm looking in the monitor to make sure it shows up. It's not real noticeable, but I can see that these stitches look bigger than these stitches. They were done on the same size needle, but because ribbing stitch stretches out a little bit, because you're going knit and purl, it causes a little bit wider gap. So you can see there is a difference. There you can see it a little bit in the definition of the stitches. So it'll be interesting when I finish this to see if the other one doesn't roll quite as badly as this one does. And I really hope this blocks out so that it does not roll, because that looks horrible doing this constantly. So, yeah. But anyway, here you can actually see really, really well defined. You can see these stitches here, especially right here, are much bigger than the stitches down here, even though they're done with the same needle. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out with this experiment. But anyway, this is the one I'm working on now. And I'm almost done the first ball of yarn. It only takes about 200 yards. So, yeah, there it is. I like the colors of this one. So, I like the colors of this one too, but I like this one. But my daughter-in-law is probably going to get this one, and my daughter will probably get this one, I think. I think that's how it's going to work out. We'll see. But that's how it's planned at this point. My other knit project that I'm working on, last week we were laughing about it because I didn't get any further than printing the pattern. I got a ways on the pattern this week, and then I ripped a bit of it out. So here's the pattern I'm making. There you can see it. And it actually has cables on the front, the back, and the arms. Now, this is a free pattern, so I can show you this. This pattern takes a little bit of thought. It is It's not done in the round. You do all of the pieces and then you sew them together. And it's based on charts. The front and the back are actually 3 charts. There's a chart for each, for this side, for the center, and then the other side. And so you're working from one chart to the next all the way across. So you're going to knit a portion here, and then you do the center panel, and then you go to the next portion of the chart to do this side, and then you do the same coming back. So it is a little involved, and to show you how involved it really is, it's not your standard cables. All of these listings all the way down here and all the way from here down are different variations of cable stitches that are used on the sweater. Yeah, that's not the pattern. That's just the instructions for the cables. So this is a pattern put out by Barocco, or I keep saying Barocco, it's Bernat. This is a free pattern by Bernat. Does it have a name? It just says cable sweater. That's all it is. Now, when I said I was playing it really close with this yarn, I'm actually going to be making this without, it has a turtleneck, like a mock turtleneck collar. I'm not doing that. I'm going to have a scoop collar to try to save a little bit. There is a possibility that I'm not going to cable the arms or the back. I'm seeing how much yarn it takes just to do the front because there is a lot of cables, and they kind of intertwine all over the front. So I might not do that on the back because it takes more yarn to cable than it does just a straight stockinette. So we will see, because I really want to make sure that I have enough for the sweater because this yarn is discontinued. I bought this up at Webb's last summer, and it was like in their clearance section. So the brand of yarn is made, but I don't know that the color of it is still made. So let me show you what I've got so far, which is the ribbing. And you can see the ribbing is kind of odd sized. There's some that are short. There's some that are long. That's because some of the cables, the cables are coming right off of these ribs. So some of these are cables like right here that are close together with the stitches in between, and then they come through and they interlock like this going all the way up. So I think it's going to be gorgeous when I finish, but I had about 1.5 inches knit of this and ripped it all out because I looked at it and realized I had made a mistake and it was throwing the entire pattern off. And rather than try to go back in and fix those couple of rows where I saw the mistake, I decided it was easier at that point just to rip it out and start over again. So that's what I did. So I have about 1.5 inches done of the ribbing, and it starts you knitting the back first. I'm actually starting with the front because I know that's going to take the most yarn. So we'll see how much I have left after the front, and then we'll go from there. So that is my knitted projects that are going on. Now in my crochet, I've been working on this cardigan. I didn't finish the cardigan, but I finished the back of the cardigan, and you can see this is where I was last week. I was right at the top of the neck. And so I have since done, you can see the shoulder seams right here. Like I said, this is the back. And I'm kind of inventing the pattern as I go. I was watching the YouTube video on this, and I'll be honest, it's kind of difficult to follow. And, you know, I'm not a overly experienced crocheter. I've never crocheted a garment before, but I know how knit garments are constructed, so I'm using the same basic techniques to do this. It's not that hard to transfer from one to the other. So this is my back of this so far. And if it looks short, it's because I'm very short-waisted. Big-hipped and short-waisted. Sort of shaped like the Michelin Man. You know, they sell tires. That's kind of me. Anyway, yeah, so this comes to just about the top of my hips. It will be a drop-shouldered because this does not have insets here. Like for an arm, there's no cutout. So it's not going to fit up here. The shoulder's going to drop off here. And that's how the pattern part was written. The thing I changed was pretty much the neckline because I didn't want it riding up on my neck. I wanted it to lay nicer around. So I did that, but that's not all. I finished this as the back, and then I started up one of the sides, and this is how far I've gotten on the side. Right now it doesn't matter which side I'm doing. I'm starting from the bottom up. This is where I changed the pattern because I believe the pattern just had you crocheting over the shoulder and down the front. However, I don't want it squared in the front. I want it to be rounded, and I'm better at decreasing than I am at increasing stitches so far. So I figured if I start from the bottom, I can then, as I get to right about the bodice level where I want to have the slanted neckline, like a scooped neckline, then I can start doing the decreases so that they match up to the shoulders. That's the plan. We'll hope it works. And then I'll attach the sleeves after I get the shoulder seams done. So, in theory, it should work. We'll see. We'll hope. Actually, we'll hope a lot because all this work and have it not work out, that would be bad. So, I think it'll be fine. And anyway, those are the projects that I have been working on this week. Now let's take a look at what you guys have been doing. Something else I didn't share that I have been working on this week, I will insert a picture of it. If you remember the great big cone of yarn I was holding up, those 4,800 yards of yarn that I got the other week, I have been gradually putting those into 400-yard hanks. So I have about 5 or 6 of them done at this point. Today is the first day of my vacation. This is Thursday because I film on Thursday and I get the editing done and get it uploaded on Friday, so it's ready to go on Saturday. And, so I've got the hanks set up because I'm hoping to get some of it dyed while I'm on vacation this week. And so I took off for a week and a half. We're not going any place or anything this year. I'm just hoping to get some things done around the house, some sewing. I don't want to get that yarn dyed, and a couple other projects I got in the works. I have some painting that needs to be done. We've lived here about 11 years and things need to be touched up in a few spots. Not like, I've got one room I want to completely repaint. But, the trim and stuff. So I've got some projects I want to get done. And so I took off to do that. So I've been scanning up some yarn so that I will be ready to dye it when I have a nice day so I can have it drying outside. So hopefully I will have something like that to show you next week, I hope. We'll see. Well, a lot depends on what happens with the weather, whether I have a spot to dry it or not. So now let's get our update on the Holidayalong. Now we have a Holidayalong running. It is a joint effort with Sara Oliver, The Lass Who Knits. She has a podcast. I do have a link below that will take you over to her channel. And please go over and check her out because she and I are alternating weeks of which team we are talking about. The Holidayalong is a group over on Facebook that you can go to my Facebook page or her Facebook page, or you can just enter as a group. It's just Holidayalong 2019. And you can submit your pictures. Please tell us whether it's knit or crocheted. If you know if it has a pattern, let us know what the pattern is and approximately how many yards of yarn you used. We are going to be drawing a winner at the end of the Holidayalong. It runs from October 1st until December 31st. And at that time, each of us will be drawing a winner for the Holidayalong. But we're also adding an element of fun to it, and that is we are going traveling. There is Team Crochet and Team Knit, and they are traveling from where Sara lives, which is outside Glasgow, Scotland, to where I live, which is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I had to think where I live for a minute. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And they're traveling through Europe, and each week you'll see the sites of where we're at and all that kind of thing. And so we are trading off. So this week it is my week to share what Team Crochet is doing. If you want to check out what Team Knit is doing, go over to Sara's channel because she posts a video once a week as well. And she will be doing the update for Team Knit this week. So we switched. Last week I did Knit. This week I'm doing Crochet. So Team Crochet clocked in 450 miles this week. They reached Istanbul, Turkey, and are currently flying across Iraq on their way to Delhi, India. So you guys have gotten quite a ways. You are over, like I said, you've just reached Istanbul, Turkey, and are up in the air flying over Iraq or Iran at this point. So if I can get some pictures to post, I will put them in. Sara and I were both having a little problem getting some pictures to post this week off of Google, so we'll see. And so if you saw pictures, then it worked. If you didn't see pictures, it did not. Due to technical difficulties beyond our control, we could not show you pictures of Istanbul, Turkey. So we shall see. Now, we also have on this podcast a month-long giveaway where each week I have been giving away a skein of yarn in celebration of my 3 years of podcasting. So last week we've given away week 1. That person has claimed their yarn, and that was Jean Horn. And then last week was Granny Squared, and she has been sent her yarn. So now it's time to draw the winner from last week's, which would be week 3. And then I'm going to show you we have something special for the last week. So week 3's winner, and this is the yarn that they are going to win. It is Encore by Plymouth Yarns. It is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. It is a worsted weight, and there are 200 yards. It's really super soft, and it is washable because it's 75% acrylic. And the winner of that, I used random generator from the comments for YouTube, and the winner is Rachel King. So, Rachel King, congratulations, and if you would contact me over at KatrinasCreations@yahoo.com, let me know your address. I will get it out into the mail to you as soon as I get your information. So congratulations again, Rachel King. So now what is for the last week? The last week is not just one skein of yarn. It's going to be 2 skeins of yarn that actually coordinate together. So the last week, the first yarn is going to be Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball. And this is the one that is white and gray, and it goes to a black, like down in the center here. I don't know if you can see it or not. A little bit, but down in here, there you can see some black. So it's all neutrals. It goes from grays and blacks and cream, like a creamy white. And there's enough in this to make an entire shawl. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It is 58% cotton, 39% acrylic, and 3% other fiber. I wonder what the other fiber is. I think the other fiber is that it's a string that is like twisted around. That's probably what it is. But anyway, this is Shawl in a Ball. And there are, let's see, they're saying it is a worsted weight. And how many yards? 481 yards or 440 meters. Okay. So here is yarn number 1. Now, I got this other yarn a while ago. It is by Yarn Bee. It's called Infatuation, and the color is Stones. It is so soft. It's a fake fur, but look at these together. They look like they could go together. So my thought was, let's see how many yards are in this one. Does it say? This has 143 yards. So my thought was, and it even has some other little textures. You can see some little like bump things in here. So my thought was it would be fun if you did a shawl and then had textured sections. You could either hold the two yarns together in sections, or you could actually knit some and then put this in, and or crochet some and put this in. But I just thought they went really, really well together. There you can see it. Yeah. So this is going to be the prize, the final prize of the month. So this will be the prize for week 4. Now to enter this week, tell me where you live. Not specifics. I don't need specifics where you live. We're not scoping out where each other live. Just tell me the state or the town in the state that you live in. I just think it's really fun to see where everybody lives. I mean, I know that there's some from all over the world. Somebody told me hello from Malta the other day. So if you're watching, hi, thank you for watching. But we have people from like Germany and Australia and the Netherlands and all over that I have seen. So it just always amazes me how we're like spread out all over the world, and yet we've got this in common, and we have a lot of fun together as friends and knitting and crocheting together. So I just think that's exciting. So that's what you have to do to enter this week. You must be a subscriber, and you must be over the age of 18. And I know some of you, this was one of the things they were laughing about this week. The majority of you are like the same age I am, and we have grandchildren. But just in the event that we have someone under the age of 18 watching, I don't know of any, but you never know. Just in case, you must be over the age of 18 to enter the giveaway. I qualify. I'm not entering. I'm over 18. Long over 18. Which reminds me, my granddaughter got her not driver's license, she got her learner's permit this week. How did that happen? Yeah, scary. Anyway, I'm feeling very ancient right now because I remember teaching her mother how to drive. I remember how to drive. It didn't seem like it was that long ago. Anyway, back to, I got totally off of the subject here. But anyway, yes. Entering the giveaway. Back to what we were talking about. Yes, you must be a subscriber over the age of 18. Give me a like, which would be a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below telling me where you live. So I just think it would be fun to see where everybody's at. So then I will draw a winner next week, just like I did this week, and we will see who wins these 2 skeins of yarn. Now I'll tell you about what was so funny over on the YouTube, here on the YouTube channel, and over on Facebook this week. If you watched the video that I posted on Wednesday about the history of crochet, if you missed it, if you click the little I here, wait till after the video. But if you click the little I here, it will take you to that video, and it's a brief history of crochet. Well, in the history of crochet, something that was very interesting was that early crocheters, if they were crocheting in the round, it didn't make a difference. But if they were crocheting something that laid flat, they only crocheted on the right side. They never crocheted back across the wrong side. At the end of each row, they would clip the yarn and start back over on the right side again. So the comments started flying about how much we would hate having to weave in all of the ends. Well, then we decided that they probably got sick and tired of weaving in all the ends, and that's how fringe came to be. So, yes, we were all laughing about that, saying that they had to have gotten sick of weaving the ends, and that's probably what prompted people to start crocheting back across the wrong side. But, yes, as a joke, I was like, yes, I can see that that's how fringe was invented. I'm not weaving in the ends. I'm tired of weaving in the ends. It's a design element, and we'll just call it fringe. So, anyway, yes, we were laughing. There was a bunch of us commenting back and forth about all the older beginner, the early crocheters, and how much they must have hated weaving in those ends. And yeah, so yes, it just kept going downhill with the laughs, with all the fringe jokes that were going on at that point. And then over on the Facebook page, Spring showed a picture of something she's knitted, and she had all these little pieces of cut yarn. And she said, now I'm ready to put all the fringe on, or let the fringe making begin. And I started laughing because all it brought back was all the crazy comments we were talking about how fringe was probably invented because somebody didn't want to weave their ends in. So, yes, we've been laughing about that all week. Then I was laughing at work because Joann Fabrics donates a lot of their off-season or overstock things that don't sell. They donate it to our library. It comes into our department first because we go and get it. Well, my supervisor goes and gets it, brings it in, and then we sort through all of it and decide what we think people can use for programs. Like sometimes there's material, sometimes like this time there's a bunch of Christmas things, which kind of surprises me that they didn't just keep them to try to sell them this year. I mean, huge boxes full of clear Christmas balls. So those got all packed up because we know that the library will use those for a program. They'll have a craft making thing with some kids and stuff. And so we know those will get used. So we packed those up. We had some things that we have a Secret Santa where families that, don't have much or whatever, needy families can come in and do a little Christmas shopping through some of the things, or kids can go Christmas shopping for their parents, that type of thing. And so things we thought would be good for those ended up in that pile. So we just kind of sort through everything. And if there's odds and ends left over, we're allowed to take some of those things. So I did. There was yarn in there, folks. There. But before we got to the yarn, the thing I was laughing about that nobody else wanted, and I can see why, it's really ugly, but it's one of those things where it's so ugly I had to get it because I knew my son and daughter-in-law would truly enjoy the entertainment. My son and my daughter-in-law both enjoy hunting. I don't like to hunt. I don't like the taste of venison, but they have an overabundance of deer where they live in Ohio, and they do eat almost exclusively venison. They eat what they take, and they take what they eat. So, so they do a lot of hunting, and they eat. That's what feeds them through the year. Anyway, as a result, I saw this. Yes, it is. It's done out of plastic, but yeah, it looks like an ornament out of antlers. Yeah. All I could think was the Beauty and the Beast song, that I use antlers in all of my decorating. Yeah. Anyway, I had to get this. I saw this, I cracked up laughing. I was like, and I was singing the song from Beauty and the Beast and holding this and bouncing around the room a little bit. So everybody was laughing by the time I finished with that one. But yeah, I mean, is this tacky or what? That's really bad. Be great for a white elephant party. Where you bring items that you don't want anymore and try to convince somebody else that they can't live without them. Yeah. But anyway, I saw this, so this is going to my son. I have a feeling it might end up in the trash, but he'll enjoy it for a little. It'll be good for a really good laugh. So anyway, that was the one thing I got. Then I got a bunch of journals that are very similar to this. This one I got from Consumer Crafts, and I use it for all of my YouTube notes, and I use it for a planner. And so I got 3 more that are very, very similar. They're almost identical to this. The covers are just different color because I use those constantly. The other thing, let me get to the yarn, the important issue. I got this whole thing. This is acrylic. It's called Big Twist Yarns Gradient. There you can see it. And each ball of yarn, there's 5 balls of yarn, and it's a total of 8.8 ounces. There's a total of 580 yards or 530 meters. So each ball of yarn, except this top one, this is the one I used to make Corky's hat and scarf, so that it doesn't have this one is not a full skein. So each of these have 116 yards or 106 meters. So there's this one. And then I got a second one that's identical to it because 500 yards is kind of difficult to do a whole lot with. But I thought if I put these two together and there's a matched set, I should be able to make something really pretty. I don't know what yet. I'll have over 1,000 yards though. I will have 1,060 yards. So I'm not sure if it's going to turn into an Afghan. I'm leaning towards maybe an Afghan to put in my husband's bedroom. Well, not his bedroom. There's a bedroom next door. On the other side of this wall is another bedroom, which my husband uses as a study. And it also doubles as an extra room, too. There's a futon in there that folds out to a bed. The room I'm in is a bedroom, too. That's our spare bedroom that people when they stay with us, they usually use this room. But if they have children, the kids go in the room next door. So this might go in there to match and just put over top of the futon that's in there. I think that might be what and I might be daring here. I've seen some of you make the C2C crochet afghan, and I've wanted to try it. This might be my try it. So, yeah, so I got that. And then I got this one, which it's white, and then it goes in pinks, and then it goes all the way down to this is almost a rosy reddish pink. This is more of a rose. This is a rose red type of color. I don't know if you can see it real. Yeah. There's a lot of glare coming off of it because of the plastic. Maybe I'll take it out, then you can see it. Yeah, there you go. So it goes this color, and then this color, and then this one, and then these two. And this one, I think, might become a shawl. I have a shawl pattern that I found a while back, and it looks like it belongs for Valentine's Day. It has hearts, all like shaped hearts, and it's done in pinks and whites and reds. So that might become this. I'm not sure. And then, because I needed something to carry all this home, I got a bag. And these are it's a lined bag. And it's got a vinyl bottom to it. I mean, the ugly antler thing was $14.99. Would you pay $14.99 for that ugliness? I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, I guess somebody would, but I don't know, not me. This is a $20 tote bag, and they were just getting rid of it. So, yeah, it's working great. I carried my supplies up here to show you the video. So, really excited about that. So, that is my acquisitions this week, which were quite numerous. Now it's time for... Now, in our Come and Get It section this week, I'm getting my notepad up so I don't mess anything up here. Over in Annie's, now I do my sales in alphabetical order so that you can find them alphabetically down below in the description box. If any of these sales appeal to you, you can drop down into that description box and you will see under this, you'll see the names of everything, and they're listed alphabetically. Just because it's easier that way for everybody. So let's get started with Annie's Craft Store. I looked through and found two different coat type of cardigans that they had. The crochet one is called the Penny Coat Crochet Cardigan. And it is for $6.50. And I'm going to stick a picture in. And then the knit pattern is called the Copeland Cardigan, and it's only $3.99. It's discounted right now. It's a very basic cardigan, so it'd be fairly easy to do. Yeah, but I thought it was kind of pretty and versatile. Again, that's Annie's Craft Store. Over at Bluprint, they have their Bernat satin yarn on sale for $1.57. They also have Bremont Camino alpaca, which I bought a while back to make a sweater with. It's extremely soft, and it's on clearance right now. A skein is $3.32, which is super cheap for alpaca yarn. And it's like a fingering weight. I don't remember the yardage with it, but I mean, their skeins probably about half the size of this, but this is worse than those are fingering weights. So it's smaller. They're about like this. So, anyway, it's $3.32. I'll put up somewhere down below here what the yardage is on that, because I'll look when I go back downstairs. Over at Consumer Crafts, they have a really neat needle case on sale right now. Now, when you think needle case, you're thinking knitting needles, but you could use it for more than just knitting needles. It's 14.5 inches long. It's kind of like a square tube shape. It's 2 inches square by 14.5 inches long. So it's meant to fit your shorter, straight knitting needles. A lot of people I never use my straight knitting needles anymore. In fact, I've got them I've got some antique ones sitting up on a shelf somewhere up here behind me in a glass jar. I very, very rarely ever use straight knitting needles. But this knitting case would be great to store crochet hooks. It'd be great to store if you have Tunisian crochet hooks, if you have double pointed needles, when you I did use some double pointed needles this week. Anyway, a needle case on sale for $3.17, which is really cheap. That is over at Consumer Crafts. Create for Less has a clearance running on their Red Heart Classic yarn. It's for $2.49. The dollar store does sell yarn, and you can go to, when I say the dollar store, I mean the Dollar Tree, okay? If you go to the Dollar Tree, you can actually have your order sent to your local Dollar Tree and pick it up there so you don't have to pay shipping, which makes a big difference in the price of things. You do, with Dollar Tree ordering online, have to order an entire case, so make sure you check to see whether you're getting 6, 8, or 54 skeins of yarn, because, yeah, anyway, you don't want to knit a rug for your entire house. They have Deborah Norvell Chunky yarn on sale right now. They also have Premier Cotton Home. Now, it was funny because they sell it, of course, for $1 a skein because everything in the store is $1. I saw it advertised over at another store for $1.97. So you're roughly getting it through Dollar Tree for half price, what you would buy in a regular store. So, it's kind of the yarn that you could use for making dishcloths and things like that. Now, over at Hobium, in their Stars of the Month, they have Lamia Silky yarn. So I did a little checking to see what that was, and I will try to insert a picture if I can. It is a microfiber acrylic, which means it's going to be very soft, and because it's microfiber, I'm thinking it probably doesn't pill as easily as regular. It is a fine to sport weight. There are 328 yards or 300 meters per skein. If you buy one skein, it's $1.91. If you buy 3 skeins of the same color, you can get it for $1.72 a skein. So you do need to figure in your cost of shipping because it does ship from Turkey. However, their prices are so cheap. And Ice Yarns works the same way. Even though you're paying higher for the shipping, by the time you add that in and average it out per skein, it still is cheaper than buying it in the store. And they have tons to choose from. So that's Hobium and Ice Yarns. But Hobium is the one that has lucky yarn right now. Ice Yarns has a garage sale each week that you can go check out. They have closeout yarns, and they have a bargain area where they are yarns that are like as far discounted as they can discount them. You can pick them up for pennies. Literally, you can get lots of yarn over there for under $1 a skein. So that's Hobium and Ice Yarns to check out. Knitcrate, you can get 20% off of your first subscription box if you use the coupon code KCreations20. And you do, when you sign up for a crate, you do get a choice over whether you want to choose neutrals or cool colors or warm colors, or if you want to be surprised and let them do the choosing. So each month you can go in and change your preference because they do give you a preview at the beginning or at the end of the month. Like I think it was October 20th, I was able to go online and look at what their yarns were going to look like for November and pick which one I wanted. Most of the time, I've almost always been real happy with what they sent me, but I do like this option. I mean, I could still be surprised if I wanted to be, but I kind of like picking, because sometimes I get an overabundance of one color in my collection back here. I've got an unbelievable amount of browns. Where are they? I've got a bunch of brown over here. Yes, brown. Tons of brown. I don't know how, but I've got lots of brown. So anyway, yeah, if you have an overabundance of color of one thing in your stash and you want to make sure you kind of branch out a little bit, you can control that by picking out which color box you want to go with. So that is Knit Crate. Knit Picks is offering, they always have a monthly yarn sale on one of their brands, and this month until the end of October, it is on their Stroll brand yarns. You can get 20% off. Leisure Arts, over in their knit section, they have a book called Wild About Texture. It is $7.99, and it's different accessories like hats, scarves, things like that, that have a little bit more texture to them, which means they've got stitches that kind of pop out a little bit. So that is the knit section, and I'll stick a picture in. In the crochet section, they have mirror image scarves. Now those are $5.99, and they look like they could be interesting too. I'm not sure what it means by mirror image, whether it's the same on the front or the back, or if it's the same all, like one side the same as the other. Not quite sure what that means, but it looked interesting. Lion Brand, for the remainder of October, now this ends October 31st, they have 40% off of all of their yarns and kits. You do need to use a coupon code OCT40 in order to get that discount. So again, that is Lion Brand, 40% off of all of their yarn and kits. So that is it for our sales this week. Please get in contact with me, Rachel King, so you can claim your yarn. And don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment below telling me where you live to be entered for next week's giveaway, which is the 2 skeins of yarn, and that will be our last week of giveaways for the month. We also have the Holidayalong going on, and last week I had asked you all, would you prefer to see the videos at the end of each month or wait till the very, very end? It was almost unanimous that you wanted to see it at the end of each month. And when I'm looking over there and seeing the number of entries we've got per month, that's definitely the way I'm going to do it, because it's unbelievable the amount of entries we've got just for October. So this Wednesday's video is going to be a follow-up of last Wednesday's video when we did the history of crochet. This week's video will be the history of knitting, and then next week's Wednesday video will be the Holidayalong entries for October. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We did this with the fall along that we did last year, and everybody really enjoyed seeing that. We did a tote along where people entered different totes that they made, and all of us really enjoy seeing everybody else's patterns. And like several of you have said, it gives you ideas of things to make as well. So that's why we ask what pattern it is, so that when I post it up there and people can see that picture, if they like it, they know what pattern to go over and get, so that they can make a copy of something that you've made if they really like it. So that is it for this week. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again on Wednesday.